Hello, welcome back. It's another episode of the Let's Build a Platform tutorial. In this episode, I want to start working on the background. So we're going to go over parallaxing. We're going to create a water background, some hills that are going to sit just behind the water horizon, and we're also going to put some clouds in. We're going to do all of that in the built-in art editor, sprite editor, whatever you want to call it, that's built into Construct, so you won't need any other software. Construct can do it all. It's not the best, but we're not going to use the other softwares that we could, because I know that not everybody following along will have access to those, but everybody that's following along should have access to Construct. Otherwise, why are you following along? So here we go. In the last episode, we did the tile maps. We put on the ground the dirt. It was pretty basic. It's by no means a comprehensive tile map, but for what we want in terms of this basic platform tutorial and to give you an idea of what can be accomplished, I'm happy with it. I'm going to leave it as it is, like that. I have changed a couple of things. This hitbox here, this collision box, this wall block, was over 1 here. If that's still the case on yours, I just dropped it back and I just went back into the tile map and I just added an extra water layer on here. Also, what I did off camera is I changed the animation on the tide effect because I wasn't happy with it. I'll show you what I've done. On frame 0, I've just gone a line across, which is a very pale blue color. Don't make it white because the background's white at the moment and it doesn't show. I might change that actually because we're going to put water back there, but it looks okay. In the second frame, I've just added a bit more of a straight line to the bottom. I've very much simplified it. And then on the third frame, I've added another line to the bottom and just put some holes in there where the tide would be. I've left that on for 2 frames because I want the tide to come out, or the tide effect to come out, and then last just a fraction longer before it goes back in again. And then all I did for frame 4 is I just duplicated the second frame so it's got a nice transition back to 0. And then if I play the game, you'll see what that looks like based on the last one. I'm happy with it. It's better than it was before. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to work on that anymore. We could just play around forever trying to get it just a little bit better and a little bit better, but for the sake of what we're trying to accomplish, I'm pretty happy with that effect. Also, I don't think I mentioned the speed of the animation. I changed to 3. It was on 2. I wanted to go just a little bit quicker. That's all I've done. Let's crack on now, and we're going to create a water background in here. We're going to start with the parallaxing. So click on any layer, right click, add a layer to the top. I'm going to call this water BG, and I'm going to drag it down behind the tile map because it's going to be behind this. Now on this layer, when it's selected, double click and we're going to create a tiled background. Click anywhere and then we're going to change the size. So the width is going to be 16, but the height is going to be a little higher. We're going to go up in multiples of 16, so 16, 32. We're going to go 48 high and click OK. Zoom in. And then we want to get a nice blue color. It doesn't have to be the same color as the blue we're using in the foreground. Pick any blue you like, color the whole thing in. We're going to work with some gradients, so I want to go a little bit darker, about halfway up the middle tile. Color the bottom bit darker blue, and we're going to use that same effect that we used in the foreground by grading it in. Just a little checkerboard. I'm going to go 3 up. There. Okay, good. Now let's go slightly darker. I'm going to draw a line just at the top of that bottom frame there. And we're going to colour that in nice and dark. And I want to do the same effect. Just want to tile it in. In this nice gradient. There. If we get the middle blue tone there, we can also put in 1 row just underneath, and then the same with the lighter one up here. We can put in 1 row just underneath there as well, just to help with the easing. Excellent. And then I think we'll just draw a top on that. So a nice light blue We're just going to go one across the top there. And I think maybe 3, 1, a couple of spaces, 2, 2, and then a 1 on the end, and then 2, 1, 1, and then 1 on that end. Maybe make that a 2. Just for a little bit of a shimmer. We could probably go a little lighter on here. Probably a white, maybe just a little bit. So it's really reflecting in the sunshine. Probably put a few up there as well. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Close that down. Now, because it's 3 tiles high, we only want it to be 3 tiles high, but we're going to sit it back here. I want it to go all the way along. If we scroll out, we can drag it horizontally all the way along the back here. Should we bring it down one more? Let's just see what it looks like. I think it needs to go up there. Oh, we're behind it. And I fell in the water. That's because, are we on layer 0? Yeah. So click on layer 0. The player's on layer 0. We need to put the player, we'll put it on the items layer. Could have been a better name. Maybe objects would have been a better name, but it doesn't matter really what we call it. Put the player on the objects layer. Yeah, all these enemies need to go on the item layer as well. We already put the coins on there, so that's fine. And the bombs, items. It's not going to be affected by it, but we'll put him up there anyway. And then this last little fella on the items layer. Let's try it out. Yeah, I don't like how it's kind of just sitting at the base of there. I think maybe we do need to bring it down a tad. It's a little bit too high. Got it unchecked. There we go. Bring it down so it's off into the background. Yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. Right, now let's make it parallax. Oh, I fell off into the water. We'll add a splash effect on there at some point. Right, so on the background water layer, the parallaxing basically means at what speed it's going to move in relation to the speed the camera moves. So all the other layers are on 100%, so they're just going to move exactly in time with the camera. We can change the parallax on the X or the Y or both, and we're going to do both. And I'm just going to knock it back to 80%, so it's going to go slightly out of sync with the camera, and you'll see what this looks like. Right, let's not change it on the Y. The background layer on the Y, we'll keep the Y at 100%, otherwise it drops down. We could possibly go 110%, so it's a little higher, because then it moves up and down as we move up and down. So as we get higher, now you can't really tell because you'll be off the screen before you see it. Let's just leave the Y at, we'll leave the Y at 100, and then go back in. So now you can see it's kind of, because it's further away into the horizon, it's moving slightly slower. Let's get out of there, which gives it a really nice effect. And if I could stop dying, oh, and I'm still behind. Why am I still behind it? I thought I changed it. Let's just double check player on the items layer. What layer is the water background on? On the water layer, on the items layer. Water back. What? That shouldn't be happening. What have I not done? Oh no, here he is. Don't know why that was doing that. That was strange. Anyway, we're nicely in front of the camera now, in front of the water, and we fall off down there. I think I might make him fall behind that water. I can change that later. I'm waffling again. Okay, so we've done the water. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some hills behind that, past the horizon, and they're going to move at a different rate again, which is going to create an even nicer parallax effect. So we're going to right click, add a layer to the top, and I'm going to call this Hills BG, and we're going to drop this in underneath the water because it's going to be further behind, and we're going to double click, and we're going to create a tile background. And on this one, we're going to do the same thing in terms of the height. We're going to go 48 because 3 blocks high is fine. But on the width, we're also going to go a little wider than 16 because hills are wider. So let's go 160. So we're going to go 10 times the width on the blocks. Grab the brush tool here. We can change the size of the brush to whatever we want. Make sure hardness is at 1, opacity is at 1, and do not check smooth. Okay, it doesn't seem to make too much difference, but leave it unchecked. And then size, yeah, around 70, 72 is fine. Let's select the green color. Not too bright, not too vibrant, because it's going to be right in the background, so the contrast will be quite low. I'm quite happy with that. Don't go off the side here unless you're planning on bringing it in. Remember, it's going to repeat on this side. So, in fact, we could, if I do that, so you see how the top of the top line on the circle, it fits nicely into that middle box. I can do exactly the same on the other side. It'll make it look like a bigger hill. And then in the middle here, we should be able to just fit this one perfectly. You can probably line it up. See there? It fits perfectly right in there. That's great. Now let's go a little darker, just a tiny little bit darker, just to give the hill some highlight. And we're going to come in and give it like a 1 pixel. Actually, I'm going to do it on the left-hand side. There, like a 1 pixel border, 1 or 2 pixel border, just to give the hills a bit of a highlight. There, I'm quite happy with that. And then on this one, I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to completely overlap it on the right-hand side. There. And then I'm going to do the same on here. This one is going to be all in the dark, except we've got this 2 pixel, if I go back to the pencil tool, we've got this 2 pixel border up here, and that's what I want to keep when I go onto this side. So grab the paintbrush tool, make sure otherwise it's not going to line up properly. We're going to go 2 pixels there, and I'm going to come all the way across. So, and again, you see where this here, the darker shade is halfway between there. I want the exact same thing on this side. So I'm going to go 2 pixels down and then across. Can come down there. Okay, I'm not going to get it exactly where I want it. Oh, there. That's 1 pixel too much though. I'm going to go there. That's not too bad. That's fine. And I'm going to leave it at that because I want it to be quite subtle out in the background. In fact, we may even want to make a few highlights on the top of here. So we can go a little bit towards yellow, and then we can draw in a highlight across the top, not into the shading, just on the bits, on the top bit of the hills there. Oh. Maybe I should use the line tool. Go across there. There. We're going to bring it right down. This is where the sun is going to be hitting. If you imagine the sun in the top left-hand corner, these little lines are going to be hit by light. Just to there. That's fine. Bring that one down. There. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe bring that across to there. Okay, again, we only want them to tile one way, so we can tile them out. I can probably, I don't know if I'm going to sit them into the water. I think let's try them into the water. Tile them all the way out. Maybe doing 2 hills on one thing was too many. We'll see. Maybe we'll do another set. I don't know. But on this this layer, obviously the further away things are, the slower they're going to move. So if we've got the water parallaxing at 80% on the X, on the hills background, I'm going to take it down to 70%. and I've fallen off. And I'm behind the hills. That's what layer have I got these on? Hills background. Players on the item layer. Don't know why that's happening. Or am I even behind them? No, I'm not behind them. Are my eyes failing me? So now you can see the hills move. Okay, so the explosion, the particles are spawning on the wrong layer. They're spawning on 0, which is behind. Let's fix that quickly. If you spotted that before me, well done. Let's go back to player death. So when we die, we spawn, oh, it's on the player death function. When we die, we spawn these, see at the moment it's saying layer 0, which is behind everything. So, okay, when we restart, we spawn on layer 0. That's why we want to put them on the items layer. And then we want to spawn these on the items layer as well. That should fix all of our problems. Let me just try these hills up a tad. I don't know if I'm going to like that. I think I prefer them lower. Yeah, I prefer them lower down, a little bit more subtle. And then we'll put some nice big clouds in. No, that's too low. Well, I might do one more row of hills, which is something that will just nicely parallax against the first row of hills. Okay. Enough procrastinating. Let's do clouds. One row of hills, one row of water, and then clouds. So right click, add a layer to the top. Clouds, PG. Bring it down. It's going to go behind everything else. Double click. Tile background. And on this one, the width is going to be 320, which is double the 160, and then the height will be 48. Just so it doesn't look like it's going to repeat too much. We can go into like a nice blue color. Again, get the paintbrush. We can drop the size down on this one. Like 30, that's good. Right, I'm going to line it up with the bottom. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. There's one cloud. Then I'm going to do another one up here. I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to put one here, which is just the 2. And then I'm going to put a 1 up there. Then I'm going to drop the size of the brush down to about half. And I'm going to put maybe a couple of little ones out the side there. And then I'm going to drop it right down to 3. And then maybe go out just to the sides a little. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Then we're going to go white, and I'm going to go a little bit bigger. And just fill in some highlights just inside. Doesn't have to be exact. Clouds aren't perfect. Let's go there. Just so I've got the 2 tones. Put one in there. Go a little smaller. Maybe down to about half again. There. 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 And there. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with my cloudies. And now we've got a cloud layer. Probably drop that down a little bit and a half. We're going to stick that in right behind. Nice. Going to move that across. all the way to the end. We're going to parallax it again. I'm going to go 60. Or maybe even more. Maybe we'll go 50. Yep, 50. See what that looks like. Yeah, it's alright. Ah, I've fallen off the platform again. Yeah? What do we think? Is it working? I think that blast needs to be able to kill the player as well. Oh, I died. Oh, and did the particles happen? Did they happen where I want them to happen? No, they're happening behind again, aren't they? Okay, I can fix that later. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the clouds, I think. I'm not sure I'm happy with the blue tint on them though. I think maybe a grayer tint. We go to the flood, turn off flood fill. We can just copy in all of the blue to grey. Yeah, grey is like rainy clouds. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Kind of fits the style, I think. The hills. You could have probably another row of hills. I'll leave it up to you if you want to add in another row. You know how to do it now. Although the clouds are moving too fast. Let me just change these parallaxes around. Let's go back to the water layer. We'll stick that on 50. We'll put the hills on 65. And we'll put the water on 80. Water, hills, clouds. Oh no, sorry, the other way. Clouds 80, hills at 65, and then the water at 50. Let's just see. Yeah, so things closer to us will move a little faster. Oh, and also the bullets. I can't see the bullets because the bullets are spawning and they're behind the water. Okay, let's just fix those little bits and bobs. Enemies shooting. Okay, here we go. We've got the function for that. So we're going to spawn a bullet. There we go. We're going to spawn it on the items layer. So this is why it's so important to be so organized at the beginning, because otherwise you go back and you have to fix things. Yeah, we set the degree. Yeah, so the bullet's now spawning in the right place. The blast thing, the blast sprite is not spawning on the right layer, I don't think. So we go back to the enemies. If we go back to controls, I've put it on here yet. So we're gonna spawn the bomb. That's not spawning on the right layer. Oh, cancel. Spawn that on items 2. Spawn the blast on items. That's fine. Here we go. Player respawn. I wasn't thorough enough. Items, destroy, fail out, items. Yeah, I think that'll fix it. Let's try it. Does that fix it? Yeah, I can see the bullets now. That's better. I want to get that bomb. Yeah, drop the bomb, explodes. Although, is the water moving too fast in the background? At 50%. Yeah, it probably is. I mean, you can play around with these settings on your own game just to make sure that you're happy with how they work. Water, we're going to go 70. Hills, we'll go 80. And clouds, we'll go 90. It doesn't need to be that dramatic. The closer things are to the foreground, the faster they're going to move. Yeah, that's much better. Great. I'm happy with that. Okay, good. I'm going to leave it there. That's our backgrounds done. In the next episode, we're going to add in some more features. We're probably going to tidy up. I'm going to do some more art for these platforms here. I'm not quite sure what else I'm going to do art-wise. We're going to probably put a blue sky in the back of here. And then we're probably going to move on to what happens when we beat the level, the screen that comes up that says congratulations, you've beat the level, with a few statistics on, and then a button that takes us into level 2. I'll see you in the next level.